for patterns, tricks, stitches and tips, wands and needles, embroidery.
In this video, I'm going to be demonstrating how you can add a felt backing to the back of your embroidery hoop once you're finished stitching. I just cut out a circular shape of felt. Usually I just use my inner ring of my hoop as a template to just sort of trace. That way I can get the right size to fit the back of my hoop. And then I'm going to take all 6 strands of my embroidery floss. I usually just use a coordinating color from my pattern. In this case, I've just used a color from the hair of my ballerina. And you want to make sure that you have plenty of length on your thread for this. It uses up a lot of thread, and it's much easier if you don't have to reload your needle as you go. So to get started, you're just going to run that needle up from the inside of your gathered fabric on the back of your hoop. Just pull that straight through. You're going to have knotted the end of that thread so that that stays secure. And go ahead and place your felt circle and line that up. And then you're just going to run your needle at an angle. You're going to bring it straight down through the felt, and then you're also going to grab the fabric from your hoop. And I go at just about a 45-degree angle. It can be a little tricky getting that started, especially when you're right up here by the screw. Just kind of wiggle that. To my thread there. Okay. So then you have your first stitch. Now, what I like to do, just as I'm stitching, I just use my thread as a guide. I just kind of line this up parallel with my first stitch. And then I'm going to run my needle underneath there. Again, at about a 45-degree angle. That's what I find works best for me. You can see this method keeps those stitches pretty even and fairly evenly spaced. I'm just going to continue lining that up and working it through both the felt and the gathered portion of my fabric on the back of my hoop. This is just a nice way to just kind of give your hoop that extra finishing touch. It's not something you have to do, but I kind of like to, especially if I'm going to be displaying my hoop like on a stand, like on a desktop or a table, where somebody might see a little bit of the back of the hoop. It just gives it that extra little bit of finish. But if you're going to be displaying your hoop on the wall, in all likelihood, nobody's going to see the back of your hoop. So totally up to you if you want to do this extra step. Just going to keep working in that same fashion all the way around the edge of our hoop. Once I've worked around the perimeter of my hoop and I've gotten to the last stitch, I'm going to bring my needle back through my felt and the fabric from my hoop really close to my first stitch. That's going to finish everything off really nicely. And then I'm going to run my needle underneath that first stitch, and I'm going to use that to knot everything off and secure everything in place. And to keep everything nice and tidy looking, I'm just going to run my needle underneath the fabric just a little bit, and that's just going to hide away that tail of my thread there, so everything looks neat and tidy in the end. Use my embroidery scissors to just trim that off real close to the hoop. And now my hoop is ready to display.